In this video series, we will be knitting a tubular scarf and then adding a hood to it in case you want a scoody. The scarf is knitted using 2 beds in order to get the tubular knitting. The hood only uses 1 bed. The version that I will be working on with you is for bulkies only, but the pattern will be written up with multiple gauges so that any machine may be used, and given to Country Knitting of Maine News and Views for its first publication. So eventually, anybody who has a knitter and a ribber or a double bed machine like a Passip or Superba can use this design. The basic approach is this. We will start at one end of the scarf, knit a furry pom-pom, knit in the direction of the arrows, and finish with a furry pom-pom. Between the fur section will be ordinary yarn, and that's mostly what this video is about, is what yarn I used and how to get a hold of it and what it's like. But before we get to the yarn, let's finish the overview of the pattern. If you want a scoody instead of a scarf, you will first complete the scarf and then hang a portion of the side of the scarf on needles and knit in this direction. So the X'd area will become the back of the neck. We'll knit from the back of the neck up to the pointed out area, bind off, and that will turn into a seam that runs across the top of the head. Once that seam is sewn, we will have the item on the right, very soft and cozy. Now, on to the story of the yarn. Of course, I have a tremendous yarn shortage, so I had to go shopping. You know that's not true. But I did want to know whether I could get suitable yarn for machine knitting at Walmart. Normally, that is not my favorite place to shop, but in the times we live in, I am finding that Walmart curbside pickup is safe and effective, and I feel that a lot of people are in that situation. So I was looking at the pickup and delivery options in their little online app, which, by the way, works well, and I discovered a yarn I had not known about. It's called Easy Knit, which is apparently the brand, and the yarn name is Overjoyed. As you can see, it's quite a good price, but there is very little information about it on the site. This is all there is. The baby yarn you have been searching for, softest, cuddliest yarn ever, your baby deserves it. And there is not any more information available. Clearly, whoever designs the Walmart website doesn't really know what knitters need to know about the yarn. On the ad, there's no mention of gauge and no mention of fiber content, and not a picture of the wrapper that would tell us. So I felt it was my civic duty to buy some and find this out, and I did. My guess was that it would be an acrylic yarn, and it is, but my guess was also that it was probably a number 3 yarn, since they called it a baby yarn, and boy was I wrong about that. It's a number 5. And not always do I agree with the numbering that the manufacturers put on the yarn, but I do think this truly is a number 5 yarn. It is indeed very soft, as promised, but it also snags quite easily. Its feel and its behavior remind me quite a lot of a much thicker version of Karen's Simply Soft yarn. This pick, and several like it, occurred where I placed my claw weights. You do need some weights to use the yarn that's at the top end of what the machine will handle, but you're going to need to be more careful than I was. Using stitch size 10 on the Brother 260 knitting machine, I got 3.5 stitches in 4 rows per inch, and the yarn does knit nicely. Of course, pushing the carriage is a little extra work at this gauge with a thick yarn, but it knits without a problem. I used 1 entire skein to make the scarf the length shown, completely used it up. So if you want a long scarf, you'll need 2, and if you want the scoody, you will also need 2. 2 skeins will make the Scoody as shown. If you want to do it with a longer scarf, then you'll actually need a 3rd skein. If you would like to use another bulky yarn that you have on hand, make sure it's a soft number 5 because the heftier, stiffer number 5s won't knit well on the machine. These 2 skeins actually total about 8.4 ounces, and to finish the Scoody as shown, I did not quite use all of the 2nd skein. So I think you would be safe if you have a total of 8 ounces on hand. To make the pom-poms, you will also need some fun fur yarn. The one that I like is Lion Fun Fur. That's the one that machine knits the best for me. And you only need less than half a skein of it. So gather your goodies together, and in the next video we will actually knit.